There's been a lot of talk about a plan to start the Major League Baseball season in Arizona at various Cactus League stadiums, along with Chase Field. I think it's 12 or more venues in all. Joining us now, Braves legend and Hall of Fame pitcher John Smoltz, now with the MLB Network. Smoltzy, what are your thoughts on this plan?
Well, I'm for whatever's going to be the right thing to do to get baseball playing again. And Arizona sounds like a pretty good spot when you think about the temperature and the availability of the stadiums, that they would be playing would be real close. And I think it sounds like a great starting point. And however they can get started will be one thing. And then however they can phase in the rest of the season, if need be, back to the home cities, that would be great.
What do you think it would be like, though, playing in empty stadiums?
That's going to take you back to your old days of, Little League and just the sounds that you're used to when you were a kid, you're not used to as a professional. And you're going to hear things that probably are going to take away a little bit of focus till you learn how to do that. Spring training, of course, is one thing to play in that environment with fans and knowing, it doesn't count. So you're still trying to put in your best effort, but you're working on things. When the season actually does start and there's got maybe no fans, you're definitely going to have to get used to that. And I can't even imagine as a broadcaster what that's going to be like, hearing noises you wouldn't normally hear trying to broadcast a game. But it really is going to be everyone getting used to something that basically is never been seen before. And that's really going to be the key to having success once we get back to playing sports, is going to be those who adjust the fastest to the new normal. And we'll see what happens when everybody gets a chance to do that.
Smoltz, you and I were both around in '94, that strike. I remember that last game at the old rock pile at Mile High Stadium. But you were able to play 150-some games the next year. This is going to be a much shorter season, estimated to be 103 games. So it's going to be much different.
Yeah, and based on when they finish, right? If there's talk about going through October and into November at venues like domes and good weather places, if they decide to host it at neutral spots, then you have a much shorter off season, to your point. But I think, in the interim, everyone's going to be super excited when the opportunity is to play baseball. They will learn how to deal with whatever comes after the fact. But just the fact that sports will get playing again will be a welcome to so many people.
Now, you're a pitcher. How long would it take to get the arms ready to go for a season?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question right now, because a lot of guys don't know what to do. It doesn't do any good to keep throwing all the way through as if the season were going to start in a month and a half. To basically, you've got to ramp back up. So once they're given a 2 weeks notice to when they're going to possibly start this 2 or 3 week spring training, then you've got to be ramping up to spring training like you did when it started, a month and a half ago. I would think if it were me, I'd be doing a lot of dry drills, working on my mechanics without throwing, training as if I was in a 5-day rotation, but not necessarily throwing. As an older pitcher, I would conserve. I think the younger pitchers are going to be more at risk because they're going to be anxious to get out there and throw and let it eat, if you will. So there's going to be some imbalance in the beginning, and you're going to need a lot more of your farm system to get through this season, even though it's shorter, because I don't think guys will quite be at the peak they want to be until about midway through.
Now, players are really creatures of habit. So you go a certain way to the ballpark. I know you did every day when you were driving down to the stadium. And so how will this be for guys like that? They're used to going to the ballpark a certain way and they're going to be out in Arizona, and you may not even know how to get to the ballpark.
Yeah, I think it'll be new, and again, the excitement will override the unknown or the unfamiliar. And then after a while, it'll get to the point where whether or not your family can be with you or not, who knows how it's going to play out. But I can tell you, but playing baseball for guys that have been waiting to play and the other sports waiting to play, that will trump the first month of the unknown. Creatures of habit, yes, but it'll be the new normal, and they'll figure out a way to stay locked in for the teams that have a chance to win. They don't care how many games they'll be playing. They believe in their team, and their team will hopefully get a chance to play in the postseason, because no one's going to look back and go, oh, well, it was only 100 and some games. They're going to look back and see who was able to stay disciplined during this time, ready, who healed up, that was injured. The rosters are going to change. So many things to be talking about once we get to that point.
How are you passing the time during the shutdown, Smoltz?
Well, I've been here obviously at my house, a big house with a big backyard and a lot of things to do. So that part's been relatively easy. Getting outdoors, the weather's been great. Hitting a lot of golf balls in my backyard. Every once in a while, I'll go fishing, or the girls will go play tennis. So there's plenty of opportunities here. But we had an empty house for the last year and a half, all college students and beyond. So they've been back, and it's been actually a little treat to see my girls and kids. In a rare form of not being able to see them all at the same time. So we are trucking along, and thankfully the weather here in Atlanta has been pretty darn good over the last 2 weeks, and things are good.
Okay, one final question. What about the Braves this year, and what do you think of their retooled lineup and how they're going to approach things?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be when we find out the set of rules and how to get through the season when it starts. I think the Braves have put themselves in a position to handle any kind of season that comes along because they're so balanced in their pitching now. That gives obviously Cole Hamels a chance to get healthy. Their bullpen was much improved. I think it's the best bullpen in the National League East without seeing anybody perform yet. The additions they've made, and it's going to be a much tighter race and obviously a much more exciting one because the East is so good. So I think the Atlanta Braves, unlike some other clubs who maybe are built for the long run and being a sustained a longer season, the Braves can kind of handle whatever's thrown at them, whether it's a few double headers or, having to utilize the resources of pitching. Because I would assume there's going to be more players on the roster for a portion of the season to help them get ready and get through the first month. And I think the Braves' resources and talent is going to really help out.
John Smoltz, Hall of Famer, man. Thanks so much. And be nice to your neighbors so they return those golf balls if you hit them over the fence.
Well, there's a long ways to hit them in my backyard, so at least they're not going there. And 3 weeks ago, I didn't even know what Zoom was. So look at this.
We're all here. All right. I'm an old man, too. All right. Thank you, Smoltz.
You got it.